When you hear the name George Perez, the words I give up usually don't come to mind. I mean, look at the dude's work. A regular man would have given up 5 characters in. Perez is like, pussy, I can get 82 more characters in there. Look at this cover for the Crisis on Infinite Earths trade. Perez drew it and Alex Ross painted it. How much you want to bet that when Ross first saw it, he was like, dude, I only have 2 hands. How am I supposed to paint this? George Perez is known for his attention to detail, great storytelling, and being a generally nice dude. So to get him to bow out of a book means you kinda have to be a dick. Enter DC Comics' New 52, the not reboot that no one asked for, that made an already confusing DC universe more confusing, and this was before the gratuitous retcons. Perez ended up on the main Superman book as a writer and the artist, but he only lasted for 7 issues. I spotted this story on Bleeding Fool and followed back to the source, comicbook.com, which was a report on what Perez said at Niagara Falls Comic Con.
Everybody got that? Good!
At the con, Perez talked about working on the book, and he let people know it sucked. Quote, I think the only time I had any bitterness or uncontrollable feelings working was more recently, because the fact the industry has changed so much and it's now corporate comics. We're sometimes being asked not to create comics, but to manufacture comics. Many of the books coming out from DC Comics and Marvel definitely feel like that. There's a genuine lack of creativity with so many titles, and part of that does lie with the writers, but they can only do so much. If they're told to write the book a particular way, then they've got to do it, even if they know the book will suck. And that's the position Perez had to deal with. Quote, and what bothered me doing my run on Superman, the New 52 Superman, it was a book being done by committee. And I don't really think I got a chance to really create as opposed to, follow the dictates of what we have in mind, put your name on it. And yet they couldn't make up their minds what they wanted from day to day. So that started to sour me. Just imagine the clusterfuck this creates for a writer. First, they can't come up with their own ideas. Instead, they're told what to write. Then they wait to get that info, only to have it drag on or randomly change. There's no consistency other than the constant meandering and wavering. And this is on the lead title, Superman. This wasn't Mr. Terrific. You'd think DC's powers that be would have their shit together, but no. Now you're wasting the talent of a phenomenal artist and writer. He can do the whole thing for you. He's got decades of experience with DC Comics. He knows the characters. It really isn't hard to make this book, but DC found a way by changing the man's scripts as he handed them in. He got to the point where he basically said, quote, here's your script. However it's printed, whatever the final product is, it's your job. If the fans love it, fantastic. My name's attached to it. If they don't like it, I can't help that, even though my name's still attached to it. This is how you kill an industry. This is how you drive away top talent. You think George Perez, of all people, George Perez, earned the right to just have his way with the characters. If you don't trust him to do the job, why hire him? If you're going to change what he writes, why hire him? Why hire writers at all if all you're doing is just using their names? Oh, never mind. But here's the part that got me. DC Comics didn't tell him about Grant Morrison's prequel Action Comics storyline. Quote, Perez said at the time his frustration stemmed from contradictions that happened mid-story, the result of meddling from the committee, and that he was not made aware that a secretive Grant Morrison was relaunching Action Comics, a book set 5 years earlier. When Perez inquired about the fates and relationships of major characters, he received no answer from DC. You just have to marvel at that kind of genius. Y'all reboot the continuity, but not really, but kinda really. Then you put Perez on Superman and basically tell him to concoct a new story that you're going to give to him when you can decide what you want to do. And this would include a new backstory for Superman, except y'all didn't tell him about Morrison already doing that, or what happened to Superman's supporting cast after the not reboot. And when he asked y'all about it, y'all did what everyone wanted Brie Larson to do. Shut the fuck up. Brilliant. That's exactly the kind of management that just brings in the dollars. After all that, just 7 issues in, Perez bounced, and who can blame him? He never really got the work. He got told what to do plenty of times at the last minute. Sounds like a crap job, and well below anything Perez should have to do at this point in his career. Now, he's real nice in the comments. He says, quote, but it was the fact that, okay, maybe the time is now the best thing for me, because this is what they want to do, and they can be successful at it. If I'm the one who's uncomfortable, then I think I should be the one to leave. Not because they're doing it wrong, it's just I can't play in that field anymore. Translation: y'all niggas crazy. But seriously, this is the core of the problem. There's no planning, no real editing or control. Obviously, someone's calling the shots, but I'm talking about the kind of management that makes for a good book. It's just not there on the level it should be, especially when these characters haven't been this popular in a long time. There's too many wasted opportunities, and to drive off a major talent by not letting him do his job is insane. And you gotta contrast what happened with Perez with the way that so many diversity hires get to do whatever they want. Here's a guy who's earned the right to do whatever he wants. Nope. Cock block him. But that talentless hack who has the gay vagina, let that furry can do whatever his ear wants. Y'all ran him off the book. It's just blowing my mind. It's George Perez. George Perez, and you ran him off the book. It's like getting Nile Rodgers not to play the guitar. When you can make that man put down the hit maker, there's a problem. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.